Hey everybody, I'm back. So today I'm actually going to try something a little bit different, and we're going to be going over some articles here from CBC and one I believe from CTV, and we're going to just go over these two stories today. So today we got a report that the Canadian military is telling its BC-based Air Force members that they should look into Habitat for Humanity as a housing option because there's no housing left that they can afford. So let's get into this. This is absolutely unbelievable. So a senior officer in Cornox sends an email to other members at the RCAF with contact info for a charity. So basically, this senior officer decided to send out a information request or email, just information for the enlisted members below them, because there's no houses for them to live in. So let's just read some of this. So an email encouraging members of the Canadian Armed Forces to consider contacting Habitat for Humanity if they can't find affordable housing is casting a spotlight on a growing challenge facing military personnel and their families. The email was sent by a senior officer at 19 Wing Cormox to other members at the Royal Canadian Air Force Base on North Vancouver Island, which is home to the military search and rescue school, as well as several squadrons of aircraft. Further to our discussion this morning, one potential housing option for our folks is Habitat for Humanity, said the email dated May 5th. Should this be of interest to any of our personnel, please have them review the information located here. The email, confirmed as authentic by the Department of National Defense, included a link and contact information for the charity's North Vancouver Island chapter, along with a list of criteria to apply for a home. Defense Department spokesperson Jessica Lamirand said members weren't being directed to Habitat for Humanity, but rather that it was being presented as an option for those having significant difficulty finding housing. To the best of our knowledge, this has not been an option presented or explored by CAF members in other regions of the country. So what she's saying here is effectively there's no houses for our Air Force members, so we're getting them to use charities to provide houses for them. If our country can't provide housing for our actual military members that are literally bound to serve the country and to serve the government and to do different operations, that's insane. The fact that they're telling these soldiers, these airmen, that, hey, I know you can't find a house, you should try to apply for charity housing. Directly from the top. This is from a senior officer, and it's been confirmed by the National Defense Department. Build fucking houses. Jesus Christ. It's not that fucking hard. I don't understand why these people don't understand this. The email has highlighted growing complaints and concerns about the impact skyrocketing home and rental prices are having on members of Canada's armed forces and Ottawa's repeated failure to provide enough military housing. General Wayne Eyre, the chief of the defense staff, warned last month his troops were feeling the bite of escalating housing prices and other costs of living as a result of their unique lifestyles, which include constant moves throughout their careers. At the same time, Eyre lamented a shortage of military housing, saying, now we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 4,000 to 6,000 units short on our bases, which is also accentuating the housing problem. So what's happening is that these military members can't get a house on base, so they're being forced to go look for an apartment or some other place that they can rent. They're not able to because they don't have enough money, because the army doesn't, or the armed forces aren't paying them enough to actually afford these places. So now, instead of upping their rates or building more housing, they're telling them, actually just go find some charity center and they'll find a house for you. Imagine that. Imagine being like a sergeant with like a wife and two kids. You just get moved out to BC. And they're told, hey, by the way, you're not going to be able to afford any of the rentals in this area, but you and your family can go apply at Habitat for Humanity to see if they'll build you something. That's the country we live in. And if you don't open your eyes to that and see that this housing shit is way out of line, I don't know how we can actually get to the next point where things start getting better for people. If we don't fix housing, nothing's going to matter. People will not be able to live in an apartment. People will not be able to rent a place because they won't have enough money. This is a federal employee. They're in the military. Like, they should be able to afford a house or an apartment anywhere in Canada. And if they can't because there's not enough housing on base, well, then they should be paid. That housing should be paid for by the government. It's not that hard. You're a government employee that gets moved around. You have full control given up to the government, and then you get shit on. You don't have housing. You don't have a place to live. You can't afford it. You're moving all over the country all the goddamn time, and you can't find a place to live. Like, this is unbelievable. So they go on to say, let's see here. Online forums are rife with armed forces members discussing the current housing crunch, with some on the verge of moving despite desperate for advice on how to find affordable accommodation where in markets where rental prices are sky high. A spokesperson for Habitat for Humanity Vancouver Island North said he wasn't sure whether any of the 39 local homes built by the charity since 2004 had gone to military members. While several armed forces members who were contacted declined to comment because they did not have permission to conduct an interview, real estate agents say they have been seen firsthand the stress of many troops and their families face. The last couple of years have been exceptionally tough for them, Tracy Fauchtman, a realtor who works with military families relocating to the Connex area, said. I've been in the business for 19 years. I've never seen anything like this. The situation is similar for other military communities such as Kingston, Ontario, where broker Luca Andolfado has seen the stress many troops, their families, and even their realtors are seeing. There's a lot of stress and there's a lot of pressure both on the personnel themselves and on the realtors. And he's worked with these guys for 34 years. Anyone who isn't ranked higher as an officer would find it a struggle. The Armed Forces has actually advised service members against buying a home, warning in March that some bases are located in unpredictable and seemingly inflated housing markets and that a price correction was expected. CMHC reported in February that rental affordability continues to pose a significant challenge across the country. Many bases have military housing, but even as Internal Defense Department assessments have repeatedly asserted since 2017 that at least 5,000 more units are needed to meet the military's growing requirements. And the number of homes owned by the government has steadily decreased. We've seen privatization. We've seen the sell-off of all these properties. We've seen all this stuff go on. We've seen the neoliberal systems get their hands in these housing markets and then just remove anybody who didn't already own something or is working in a very well-off field. You're not going to buy a house in Vancouver. Like, you're not going to buy a house on the island. Like, let's just start there right now. It's almost physically impossible. Like, we need to check this because I want to dive into this a little bit further here. What is Canadian Armed Forces salary Let's see here. Pay overview. There are 3 subgroups for non-commissions. Standard, Specialist 1, and Specialist 2. Where is... let's see here. Actually, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're trying to grow this. Let's go. Anyways, let's just see here. I believe there's a pay and benefits. So anywhere between 35 and 62, which is... Let's even say you get 62,424 divided by 12. That's 5,000. That's pre-tax, so times 0.39. So yeah, your take home is probably around $4,000 a month. And finding a house in Vancouver and actually being able to feed your family and live off of that is going to be almost impossible. So good luck buying a house. Good luck even finding a rental. But the good news is the government is now telling you, look for charity housing. This is unbelievable. So what should happen? What should be done? Well, first of all, for armed forces members, they should absolutely have more housing being built on bases immediately. Like this is something that should have been done back in 2017 when that first report came out saying that there were 5,000 houses short. Because now we're 6,000 to 7,000 houses short, and that number hasn't gone down. So what we need to do is we need to build more houses on base. Okay, we do that, and then if we still have a shortage, if we still have a need for more housing, well then we build more housing. It's really a simple concept, and I don't understand why our government doesn't fucking understand this. Our soldiers, our airmen can't afford to live in the places that they're stationed, and so therefore they're being told to go find charity housing. Like, this is a failure of every level of government. This is a provincial failure a little bit because of their lack of regulation on who can buy housing, but this is also a federal failure. The fact that they just let housing get this far out of control because it helped profits. It helped other people, developers, investors, venture cap funds, that allowed them to make more money because now these houses that were 500,000 are now 2.5 million, and good luck buying one. But the people that do buy them, the other people that are selling them are now making a shit ton of money. So they're not going to stop that. And of course, the government is completely in bed with these people. They're not going to build new houses. They're not going to fix this. They're going to put some neoliberal means-tested thing in the way. And the fact that these people are military members and they're not getting the support that they need is absolutely insane. Just think about that. These are military members that can't afford to live near their base or even on their base because they don't have housing. This country's becoming a joke every single day, and it's stuff like this that affects real people every single day. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe. And until next time, guys, have a fantastic day. I'm going to be talking more about these kind of topics like this a lot. And I think doing some of these a little bit less prepared is probably better. So this one will be up right now today. And then I'm probably going to do one like this and then one written scripted video out each day going forward. So if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and a comment and subscribe to the channel. And until tomorrow, everybody, have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic day,